my little itty-bitty bruiser buddies.
United States heavyweight champion from Brazil.
The world's heavyweight champion from the AWA, Nick Bockwinkel.
The Midwest supporting, bruiser loving, positivity spreading, world's most dangerous podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty as he supports and promotes Midwest pro wrestling. Keep on growing with the Midwest Express. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
And greetings and welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us again this week. We're a day late this week. I apologize. Let me explain why. We have two great interviews on today's show. One with a member of the bomb shelter, Joseph Schwartz. And then we have a Whatever Happened To with EZ Cruz. And I had to do a little extra editing on this audio. And there's still some popping sounds in the interviews today, and I apologize for that. I don't think it takes away from the content of the interview at all. They are both still great interviews. But I did have to do a lot of work. I tried to reduce it as much as I could and get it edited out. And I did clean it up quite a bit. But that's why it's a day late, because of that. So there you go. My efforts to try to make it better for you, sound better for you, and that is why it's late. Hopefully you all had a good week. I did, I think. Many things going on. I did put up some new classic wrestling video this week on our YouTube channel from Midwest Territorial Wrestling. Some great stuff featuring Sam Farmer hosting those things with lots of great talent. Cactus Jack's on there, Too Cold Scorpio, Al Snow. Lots of great people are on those shows. So make sure you go check those out. Visit DaveDynasty.com for all the links, including a link to the YouTube channel where you want to subscribe. And that video footage of MTW, Midwest Territorial Wrestling, from the mid-'90s has spun off into lots of conversations I've had with people about that. Lots of memories being brought back of that work, and it's led to a couple of interviews we're going to have in the future, though stay tuned for those. They're going to be great interviews. We're really going to dig deep into Midwest and particularly Michigan independent wrestling in the mid-'90s with some great interviews and some great audios with some guys that you've heard of before that were discussed by guys like Dr. Jerry Graham Jr. and Chris Carter, and it's going to be cool stuff. That's the kind of gems we like to really dig deep into and explore some of those things that maybe don't get a lot of exposure and a lot of memory anymore, right? That's what we're trying to do here, preserve some of that history here in the Midwest, and so that's what we're going to do with those interviews. But again, go check those videos out. They're very cool. Share them. Get them out there. It's good stuff. It's a classic slice of Midwest independent wrestling in the mid-'90s. And again, we have a great show for you here today. We do have to make an announcement. We have been talking about that we were going to attend Heroes and Legends Wrestling in Fort Wayne in October. We will no longer be able to attend that event due to kind of a family thing on my end that I have to be at. It conflicts with that date. It's something that just came up here recently after we'd already committed to the show, and I apologize for not being able to be there, but we really don't have any way around it. I have to attend this event, so we will not be able to attend that event. My apologies go out to Jason Maples, the whole Heroes and Legends crew. We will be up there, right? We will make that date up at some point with them and attend one of their shows in the future. We guarantee you that, and we will be out at other events and other shows in the coming months and year ahead. So watch for me and Ike out there on the road. And if you see us, say hi. So let's get right to it, right? Not a lot to say here today, not a lot to talk about. Let's take a quick break and come back with the first of our interviews with member of the bomb shelter, Joseph Schwartz, when we come back. If you are looking for the best books, DVDs, and posters on classic wrestling nostalgia, then you want to visit crowbarpress.com. There are literally dozens of titles there, including biographies of the likes of Bruiser Brody, Ole Anderson, Ivan Koloff, and of course, Dick the Bruiser, as we've spoke about here on the Dave Dynasty Show. You want to visit crowbarpress.com for all of your classic wrestling nostalgia needs. Again, that is crowbarpress.com.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I'm your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and today we are joined with Joseph Schwartz. How are we doing today?
Doing pretty good, guys. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, hey, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So our first question is always, where are you from, Joseph?
Where am I from? I am from the edge of the universe, but before then, I resided in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan, and now I'm located in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind me asking, how did you go from the edge of the universe to Michigan?
Well, I'm from Detroit. It was, cut my teeth wrestling a little bit when I first got in, and it's where I got trained and everything. So I'm just born and raised from Detroit, like the song says.
Right. Fantastic. So then, born and raised in Detroit. What was your childhood like? Did you play any sports?
Yeah, I played. I was a baseball kid. Loved baseball and soccer. Just like anybody, when I was like really, really young, played on the blue, yellow, or had some school districts blue and red teams, and then I moved down to Little League baseball and was a really good center fielder. So I really was enjoying baseball a lot. Had a good throw to me and always could hit the long ball. Moved on to high school where I participated in wrestling, collegiate wrestling, and lacrosse, as well on my off season do cross country.
Okay, very cool. Lacrosse, surprisingly, really, really, really fun. And nobody plays that sport, which is absolutely horrible. But
well, oddly enough, funny story about that is I played lacrosse in Detroit in high school. And my sophomore year, a school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, desired my skills amongst a couple other around the country, and we gained a scholarship to go out to high school there. So I actually spent a couple of years in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and had it not been for the couple of years in Philly, I would have never attended actual ECW live event shows and met a gentleman in my dorm who would take me to these shows. So lacrosse actually got me, really helped my passion for wrestling by getting me to Philadelphia.
That's absolutely awesome, though. Like, lacrosse is, and I guess side story, lacrosse is a lot of fun, but it's weird because you're just like, lacrosse made me go to wrestling, and that's awesome.
Well, I hate to say it, and I'm going to catch flack for this, but, that's the Joseph Schwartz story, catching flack. Lacrosse is way football because it's football with throwing that little ball into a net and passing it and tackling. I think it's a little bit of skill and patience. It's like the golf of football.
Right. And I don't know, man. Like a football, it's got a little give to it, but depending on what you're playing with, what's using lacrosse that has a little less give to it. Also, like you said, you're doing a little more tackling, and you kind of have a stick to kind of like shove people around with. So, but and you don't.
That ball, it's referred to as pegging somebody with that ball. The ball is hard rubber.
Said no give.
I digress, though.
Anyways, beyond just lacrosse, and so you actually kind of answered the next question I had for you. Some of your first memories of wrestling. But I'm not sure. But were you a fan of wrestling prior to going to Philly?
Oh yeah. I was a huge fan of WWE and WCW wrestling. That was it. That's all I knew. But I loved. I was in. I was completely immersed. I knew that there was wrestling before it in the territories, like the Smoky Mountains and the stuff like that. So I knew that stuff existed. There was no YouTube around, so I couldn't gain access to it. But I knew there was that. But then I knew WWE and WCW gobbled everybody up, and that was the end of the story. And they are the best. And I got to Philadelphia and was like, "What is this? Who is this Taz fellow? What are these Dudleys saying to people?" And then my memory switched to Sabu and Dudleys and stuff like that. So that's kind of I had the Vince of wrestling when I first came in.
And and I would imagine that having, because basically you started with the WCW, the WWE, or the WWE at the time, and then getting kind of thrown into ECW. And I'm sure there's a little bit of a little culture shock because you're just like, what? Like, this is not the wrestling. That
No,
I'm
you
used
almost
to.
said it. You said it right the first time. It's a shell shock.
Right.
It's a shell shock. You were about to say it. It's not a culture shock. It's a shell shock because, like I said, best example is you go from WWE. Shawn Michaels is getting heat as DX naked. That's pretty edgy. And then you go see the Dudleys live in ECW, and I don't repeat even anything that they said, but it makes D like they were in chicken costumes.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that I always kind of drove me a little crazy about is that like you said, you know, I feel like the WWE tried to be edgy with DX, but like nothing even like compares to like some of the crap that they did in ECW.
No, but they didn't answer to advertisers and investors either. So, I mean, it's all relative.
Right? Yeah, it is. You're right.
I think a lot of people and a lot of the fans forget that your product wouldn't be so successful if this so and so was putting money into it, and by putting money into it, they have a couple wishes that they would like, and like a lot of fans are like they don't like the give and take.
Well, and that's just the crazy thing about wrestling. You can't please it. But there are those people that try, and the people that try often succeed. So, but,
they do.
But so we've kind of talked a little bit about your kind of early expression to wrestling with both WCW, WWF, and then ultimately ECW. And we kind of talked about you got really hooked when you went to Philly, and you were like, "Wow, this is different." But at what point in time did you say, you know, I want to watch wrestling, I want to be a wrestler? What kind of brought that out?
So like around 2007, 2008-ish, I met a guy named Jeff King, old-timer Jeff King. I'm sure you guys have heard of him as you follow old-time wrestling, or you follow the death matches recently at IWA that he's been performing. He's done a lot before that. This is the most relevant stuff that a lot of people can grasp onto. He broke me into business, 13 years ago, 13 last August. Something like that. And he broke me in. I wanted to do a wrestling event for a nightclub because I ran a nightclub, and that's all I wanted to do. And he offered me the chance to train to be a wrestler the more we talked. He was going to just rent me the ring and put the talent together. I wasn't going to be a promoter, a booker, or anything. I didn't even know that existed. He said, "Do you want to come train to be a wrestler?" Absolutely. I've always wanted to be a wrestler. I just didn't know that those schools existed. I came from an area that had a lot of money, a lot of, a very hoity-toity area, as some people say. So it was pretty much be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a this, be a that. There is no wrestler. That's not a job. That's not a real job. So I was very discouraged. But when Jeff had told me that I could train to be a wrestler and explain what it entailed, I said, let's do this. And for the first week, I would go out to his house, and we would set up a ring. He lived on a farm property, not a farm, but a farm property. So we set up this ring in a cornfield under the beating sun, and we tore it down and put it up and tore it down for a week, and I was hooked. I wanted to, and I never looked back.
Wow. So interesting, tearing down and putting up a ring in the middle of a cornfield was what got you going.
Well, he run the ring. We didn't want the ring to rust because he rented the ring out for events. So like people are like, "Oh, that's brutal." Well, we had to do it because what if we couldn't do it the next day, or what if it rained? Like,
right.
He rented that thing out, so it was a genuine task.
It was a task with a purpose. We weren't just doing it for fun.
Yeah, I was breaking down, setting up rings day one.
Right. So obviously that kind of gives you an appreciation for what goes into events. Is they got to take that down and they got to tear that down and put it up, and that's a portion of what wrestling.
Sure.
So then obviously you kind of evolve. You go from I'm a fan to I'm training to be a wrestler to now I get to wrestle.
Yeah.
So that first match, everybody remembers the first match, it seems like, and some people remember it fondly, some people not so much. What was your first match like?
Technically, bell to bell. Tracy Smothers, JCW. I had a mask on and some sweat clothes, and I got kids say jobbed out. I got to get beat up by Tracy Smothers, bell to bell. Wasn't even a full, but 30 seconds. that's the first legal on paper, bell-to-bell, pinfall match. So I always count that one because it's a good little story. I love that that's how my wrestling in career kind of started. But my first real match was against Frankie the Face, who had come in to help train me as well at the time. Kind of assisted Jeff King a little bit and made sure I was well-rounded and kind of used some of his connections to get me some of my first matches. Was actually, oddly enough, I just won the Heroes and Legends tag titles, was with Jason Maples at EWF in Marion against Frankie the Face. First match.
So, I mean, either way you swing it, you either had a first match with Tracy Smothers or with Jason Maples. So either way you spin, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, I wrestled Frankie the Face, but it was for Jason Maples.
Right, yeah, that's right. So that's still pretty
crazy,
but
it's kind of cool that it all comes full circle.
Right. So I mean, I would definitely say that getting beat up by Tracy Smothers is a good story. But
sure.
But the other one's pretty cool too. So definitely, I mean, like I said, some people think of their early matches and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was great." People say, "Oh, that was a match," right?
That was a match.
that was a match. I got in the ring. That's something I did. But talk to us a little bit about your early career and the Kosher Club. Now, this is not something.
Oh my goodness!
So you're gonna have to
those nerds. Oh, those guys. So okay, I get in the business. Rolling around one day, we're just, what kind of chemistry do you have? Everyone's asking me, what do you want to be? What do you feel like? What do you relate to? Like, I don't know. We're throwing these things around. We have no idea, and I can't remember who even said it. Like, couldn't even give credit where credit's due on this one because I think everyone just harped on it at once. Well, you're everyone's Jewish friend, so it was always. I was always. I guess I have these Jewish tendencies about me that are very stereotypical, which aren't so bad, but just kind of quirky and silly. So they were like, yeah, you're just kind of everyone's Jewish friend, like, and some words were said, but it was all in good fun. And basically, it was to be that I was the Hebrew Hammer. And Josh Raymond, former Ring of Honor guy, Josh Raymond, whipped up a pair of my first year, a Super Crazy style singlet, and I would wrestle and cut my teeth as the Hebrew Hammer, and I really enjoyed it, and I was kind of picking it up for my say in the game. And I would be running around with a guy named Sean Tyler, who we'd always do one-on-one matches with. And I just had this idea one day, and I'm like, it'd be really funny if we tagged. And he was like, yeah, how would we do that? And I was like, do you remember Tracy Smothers and the FBI were like, he was totally not Italian, but it was awesome. Everyone loved it, and they'd put him, but they'd be sad if he didn't do the shtick. So what if we did that, at Jews? And he loved it, and we did it at for Hardcore Harry at NWA Underground, and it just gelled. We just really had this good chemistry together, or at least, what we thought was good chemistry for being young. And we did. You look back at it, and, your skill is never as good as it was in wrestling if you really work on it. But we were a pretty good tag team, and everywhere we went, they're like, two Jews are way better than one. And that was literally, we went out there and just knew to entertain people. Sean was a very strong wrestler at the time and had a lot of the kicks and a lot of the indie moves. It's a real indie style to him. And I was always just this Memphis kind of guy at that time. And we complimented each other. Next thing you know, we're down here in Indianapolis working for IPW, and in the bout there against the, at the time, Irish Airborne, now known as OI4K. We're getting work over at Heartland Wrestling Association, working with the Soul Shooters and guys like that. John Moxley at the time, now known as Dean Ambrose. I mean, it was really a great thing for us. We worked with the Osirian Portal. God, what a great time. There's even a match online. We got to work with Chuck Taylor and Ricochet. So, yeah, we learned a lot as a Kosher Club. I attribute a lot of my career to that.
Something you said I think you should make a T-shirt out of is, we're the FBI, but that's what you should make a T-shirt out of. But no, so, and actually, and I didn't know this because I was actually unaware of the whole Kosher Club thing. but you also, I guess, recently revisited the Hebrew Hammer character.
Yes, I did.
What was that like? What was it like doing that after so many years where you didn't?
It was nice. I like to tie up loose ends. I really am a sucker for that. Storyteller. I hashtag everything storyteller, but I really am. I was before wrestling. I was always a storyteller, so it's not like some skill I gained in wrestling. It's just honed it. So with what we do, we get to do a lot of fun, exciting things because we portray time travelers. And with that gimmick, we get to do more than everyone else. And I say that with confidence. A lot of people come to us and say, hey, I want to do this, but I have to go back in time and erase this, so can you help? So we're the out people's gimmicks too, which is hilarious. I felt like the Hebrew Hammer never got a send off. It was so good to me, and it was so good to the people, and the memories kept popping up on my timeline of all the people in the Hebrew Hammer signs, and I said, well, let's do it once. And Bomb Shelter every year does as we started last year, and we're going to film one this year. We're doing a Christmas special, a holiday special. We're always going to give everyone the Bomb Shelter Holiday Special. And the first year's special was held at WCWO, and the Hebrew Hammer came back with the Kosher Club to battle Bomb Shelter in a very unique match. And there were some people that were really bummed that they didn't get to make it. There were some people that got to see it for the first time, and they were like, what is this greatness? And it just really worked out, but I knew like it had maybe one more in it. So at the Clifton Trunk Memorial Show, my brother, who had passed away, it was his favorite. It was his absolute favorite. He liked what I was doing. He was happy with my success before he went, but he always said that was just the funniest crap I've ever seen. He loved it. And I said, you know what? This is where we're going to send it off. If there's one thing I can like donate besides my body, this is the one. And I had a match with Tom Van Zant, who we started doing some business together, and it developed into a very good friendship. And I love the man. He's a great dude, one of the Van Zants. And Tom Van Zant and I retired the Hebrew Hammer that night.
Wow. That was like a story. I was hooked from start to finish. Let me tell you that much. But seriously though, that's intense because I'll be honest. Like I've obviously heard of Bomb Shelter. I've heard of that group, and I know of your character inside of that, but I didn't know anything about the Kosher Club. So thank you for that. But that's awesome though, and like you said, you've now retired the Hebrew Hammer. But it sounds like that character has so much evolution from its inception. Like it's kind of a growing character. But like
a lot of people sell their gear. Like they like to sell their old gear. Right. I really don't. Like maybe I'll sell an armband that I wore in the ring, or a pair of clothes, or this or that. But I hold on to my Hebrew Hammer gear. I'm always going to have it. I don't care if it collects dust. There's just memories with it. There's only one person out there who has a pair of two people out there that have a pair of official Hebrew Hammer stuff, and they're wrestlers, and they can wear it in ring whenever they want. And one of those is Dale Patricks. Dale Patricks used to come watch me at IPW when he was, aspiring to be a wrestler, and he's a fan of mine before he gained success that he has now, and he's now one of the brothers, and he's out there just on top of the game. So when I had knee surgery, he came and visited me, and I gave it to him because I was so proud of everything that he had done. And it was his favorite gear that I had ever worn.
Wow. And also, I've heard so many stories about Dale Patricks. Most of them involve some not so, I guess you could say, kosher things. He's a little
it's nice to hear a nice story about, isn't it?
Right.
It's nice to hear a PG story.
Right, yeah, like a nice, PG, I didn't moon anybody kind of story.
Right. Yeah. Good kid.
He's a funny guy, though. He's a good dude. But also, you also kind of already mentioned this a little bit, but I'm a little curious. So, you're part of a group called Bomb Shelter. It's you, Zodiac, and Randy West. Is that right?
Randy West, and we have supporting cast members like Satan, and we're going to be debuting a couple more. Some people kind of know that Corey Storm is like a side Bomb Shelter character, if you will.
Right. So,
but yeah, the core group is us three: myself, Randy West, and Zodiac.
right. So, kind of, I guess, a question about that is how did that develop? Because that's kind of an interesting group of people. I've seen all of you wrestle,
Sure.
I believe. But how did that kind of develop and come to be?
Once upon a time, like everyone else, I worked for IWA Mid-South.
Right.
And these stories. This won't end like a fun Chris Hero one, sorry, but it's pretty good. We all started at IWA Mid-South. We were guys that went every day, every time, and then they moved 2 days a week, and then they didn't, and then we worked every single show. We were workhorses for the company at the time. And I say that openly because we were at every single show. We met at the venue, and he could just rely on us. And he turned to me, seeing that I had this thing with Corp Robinson that turned me heel, that made me this really awful, like it took me from this beloved Hebrew Hammer character to the most hated man in that Kentuckiana area. People wanted my throat. It was real good stuff. I no regrets. It was awesome. But he said, I'm going to put you in a group with a couple guys because they're really strong at what they do, and let's put you with Zodiac. Let's put you with Jason Saint. And then they were like, let's put you with Horror Show. And then at the time, John Williams fell out of love with whoever. I think it was Jason Saint. It was like, you guys will just do a group yourself. I was like, okay. I just gave Vince McMahon voice, which is hilarious. You guys go do it yourself. And we said, okay, Vince. And so we were just going to be an enhancement group that just kind of like stuck together. And unbeknownst to us, we were putting everyone over every week, which is fine. But after a while, you start to get that like, well, these aren't very long matches. And these aren't exactly like get better matches. Okay, I kind of get what's going on here. And we said to that, and we got matching gear, and we started going to other promotions as the Bomb Shelter because, you saw my gas mask and thought, hey, you guys should be a militant group. She said, that's not a bad name. We started doing the supervillain thing. And, of course, Marty Skrull did it first, did it better, made more money, so I dropped that and moved on to just kind of being a bad guy without a moniker. And so IWA shuts down for one of its multiple hiatuses, and we said, let's keep teaming. We love this. We're really enjoying this. And it was just me and Zodiac at the time. It wasn't even Jason because Jason was with other Horror Show members, so cool. We can take the ball and run with it over here, and we were Bomb Shelter with affiliation with Horror Show. We closed that story out too, which is funny. And when IWA came back around, we were an established tag team. We had put in all this work, and people loved what we were doing, and we were good. We could just get heat anywhere we went, and we were cohesive, and we just had this tremendous heat about us. And it worked and worked and worked to the point where people started to like us a lot. Okay, inevitably, this is going to be a babyface turn. And we went from this team of enhancement talent that loved our jobs, wanted more. We had just all changed our gimmicks a little bit because we wanted more. And someone just told us that, well, I can give you something, but it's only so much. That wasn't acceptable to us, so we worked above the rate, and we got better spots. So it was really just a bunch of hard work and passion.
That's what I was going to say, too, because, I would say that easily you guys are one of the hottest teams in the Midwest. And I would say that also notoriety-wise, because even prior to me getting into the independent scene, which was a few years ago, I had heard of Bombshell. That was something that I had heard of, So it wasn't like you guys were sitting in the unknown. But you guys continue to branch out where you work, and you continue to get better and better. But what motivates you to continue to work as hard as you do consistently?
I have the best job in the world. I don't have to sit behind a desk. I'm a homeowner because of, I work hard in wrestling, pays my bills. Like, this business has been very good to me. It has its ups, it has its downs, but this is the best job in the world, and it's been good to me, and I will never forget that wrestling has given me everything in my life, so I have to be good to it, And I don't know, I don't want to sound negative, and I'm not trying to, but I'm just realistic in the fact that I don't think WWE or NXT is in my future, but I would like the generation after me to make it. I would like to leave wrestling better than I found it. makes sense. I'd like to leave it better than I found it. And I guess that just keeps me going, that, like, we're all changing the business, and it's such a great time to be in wrestling. I can say this, especially after, like, an all-in weekend. What a great time to be in wrestling. In the early 2000s, this wasn't supposed to be like this. And 2018 is just everyone gets a chance to be successful. There's enough to go around. I think a long time ago someone said you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I think that's the biggest load of crap in the world.
Right.
You can have all the cake you want. You can eat it too. You just got to work for it.
Absolutely. And that's another thing too. You kind of took the words out of my mouth, but independent wrestling right now is, like, incredibly hot. I mean, like, the independent wrestling, I think, is almost bigger than it's almost ever been. And
we're so lucky.
Oh, yeah.
We're all so lucky. It's beautiful.
And also, you know, and this is kind of a part of it. You kind of answered part of this question already, but, you know, with independent wrestling being so amazing right now, I mean, like you said, wrestling has its ups and downs. You gave us kind of some of the ups, you know, that, you know, right, there's a lot to go around. You know, everybody kind of has a chance to make it, but there's also the downs. So if you had to give me the best and worst part about independent wrestling, what would you say the best and worst part is?
I mean, the best part is clearly the avenues of success available. That's the best part, because, I mean, instead of picking one individual little thing, it's everyone can get successful in however they want. Just, you know, you can get successful being a gimmick, being a wrestler, being a high-flying guy. Look at John Murray. Holy crap. John Murray, Dick Justice, those guys are killing it. Oh, man, like, that 2018 is kind. It's a kind soul because it knows what entertainment is. Worst part about wrestling is we're in entertainment. And with entertainment comes very, very fake people. I've often been quoted to the, you know, in so many words, but, you know, often been known for saying, the worst thing you could do is be my friend, pretend to be my friend, and then stab me in the back. Just stab me in the front. We're good. But the worst thing you could do is be my brother or sister and then stab me in the back. So it happens very often, but like I said, we're not in the wrestling. We're in entertainment. It's showgirls. Like, everyone's vying for it at the end of the day. You know, we can work together, but there's always going to be people that don't look at it like that, and we have to be careful that they don't understand that working together actually makes a lot of money. But that's the problem. You know, we're in entertainment. There's some cutthroat people.
Yeah, and, you know, and that's something that I've heard a lot too, is that, you know, a lot of people obviously don't see the interior of wrestling. They don't see the full, I guess you could say, the full makeup of wrestling. That is, there are definitely some not so nice people, as there are in every business, and unfortunately, like you said, it's entertainment. So there's a lot of people like that.
Sure, I would say about a month ago I lost a very dear friend of mine that I thought, someone that I thought was a very dear friend, and he had a money decision over me as a friendship, and, you know, without that just happens a lot, and you know, you lose a good friend and someone that you thought supported you, and that's just how it is. You have to carry on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's people that care. There's enough people that care, but you know, you're gonna get hurt a lot. So aspiring wrestlers, just fix in. It's gonna happen. The heel turn in life. It's just gonna happen. Carry on.
Right. That's the very, very wise words. And that kind of leads into, you know, the next part of this, where, you know, I mean, you've done a lot of work. You've, like you said, put in the work. You've put in the effort. You've done all the climbing that you've done, and you've worked for virtually every promotion in the Midwest. You've done a lot of work. But to kind of give you a little bit of platform, where do you work currently? Are there any places that you frequent like in the recent days that you do still?
Sure. So currently, like, you can find me pretty steadily at All-Star Wrestling in Shelbyville, Fight or Die Wrestling. Randy and I are the tag team champions over there. In Indianapolis, Coldwater, Michigan, Dan the Beast Severn running Price of Glory Wrestling. We're the trios champions up there. You know, we work for them very regularly. We'll be back in September. We just started a very big working relationship with Heroes and Legends for their October show coming up on the 27th. We work down in ACW, which is Pillars with WWN Network, and those are the guys that are putting on Evolve and Shine, FIP. So we do stuff like that. We're doing some pretty big things, some pretty cinematic things, actually. I really implore everyone to get a subscription. Plus, they use WWE guys, so you're not wasting your money. They got it's good. Indie guys are great, but you're really getting the extras there. I think Velveteen Dreams Wrestling, Evolve Weekend. Sorry, I have to plug the WWN Network. They've been really good to us. Really good to us. We work over, Randy has started a working relationship. We will be announcing some dates. We'll be working with Matt Tremont over at H2O in the East Coast. We've worked pretty decently with Hood Slam recently over in Oakland, California. Silas Young's promotion up in Wisconsin, MKE, is the place we've just begun working with. So we've got a lot going right now. I do commentary even for girl fights. Man of all hats. So me and Doug Batow, the best team ever. But we do women's commentary.
Very awesome. So it looks like you have a pretty full plate, which is not a bad thing. You got a lot going on. Before we move on,
Mon Valley Pro in real quickly, Mon Valley Pro in West Virginia as well. Had to put that one in there.
Well, before we move on, for people who are listening, you guys know exactly where to find him now. He's giving you everywhere he's going to be. Also, kind of one thing we kind of want to ask you, because one of the things we like to do with everybody that we have on here is, we talk a lot about wrestling. We talk a lot about the work we do, but one thing that a lot of people don't get a huge dose of is what you do outside the ring. So, what's a few things that maybe most fans don't know about you? What are you like away from the ring? Hobbies, stuff like that.
Outside the ring, everything I do is related to wrestling. I think the big thing is a lot of people don't know about me, I guess, is I have a production degree. I have a degree in special effects editing, which allows me to do most of the bomb shelter stuff. And I do a lot of video editing here. I've actually been an intern on Transformers 3 and Gran Torino. So, I like to sit here and edit video and study cinema, study a lot of cinema. So that I would say that's what I pretty much do when I'm not doing wrestling related stuff, but it all comes back.
Right. It all comes full circle eventually.
Maybe some Pokemon Go. I'm on Pokemon Go. If you DM me, you get the digits. We can be friends. Right. That's about it.
It's funny. Actually, I recently picked Pokemon Go back up because I played it when it first came out, but man, I just got super bored of it. I don't know why, but I did. And then I came back to it recently because my aunt's like, "Oh, hey, I'm playing it now." I'm like, "Okay, I'll play it." It's fun now. It's a lot more fun.
It is. And when you're a wrestler and you go all the regions of the parts of the country, you get the different regions. You can collect them all. It's more fun. You can really get them all. So I don't know. You don't have to cheat.
Well, so you probably travel a crap ton, so you probably get to hit all these crazy Pokestops and Pokegems and stuff like that, and you're getting all these
I've got some weird ones I send people, the gifts and stuff, when you send them from different towns and cities.
Right.
But yeah, we get a lot of crazy ones, and then we get a lot of fanatics that like wrestling too, and they'll trade us like their overseas and Canadian Pokemon or something like that.
Wow. Well, that's crazy though. Pokemon. I didn't know that about you. Pokemon Go though, that's a good pastime, but as we kind of wind down, as we kind of wrap up here, one thing we also like to ask people, because it's always good to look forward. 2018 is almost to a close, and 2019 is upon us. Goals for the rest of this year and moving into next year.
So let me preface this. Last year, I had just wrapped up getting good on knee surgery. I recovered my ACL, and just come back. I had lost every title I'd ever won. I had not lost, but I had to regain the fame and all the bookings I'd had. Fast forward a year later, I'm a triple champion with a full schedule. So that's what I had. I had accomplished that goal. So the goal-oriented mind that I have and accomplishing that goal, my goal this coming up year is to, I guess the word is undeniable, and there's just something that hasn't broken for us. I'm waiting for that one, openly and honestly, I'm waiting for that one thing that really gets everyone hooked. Maybe it's an Impact Wrestling, maybe it's a Ring of Honor, maybe it's a tour in the UK. I'm waiting for that one thing. And maybe there's a promoter that's listening to this that says, I might have that thing for you. And God bless you if you do. We're listening. But I want that thing. I want that undeniable thing.
Wow. So that undeniable thing. So whatever that thing may be, and like he said, is anybody out there listening, try and provide that one thing, because
maybe this is it.
Right.
Maybe not.
I'm curious now what that one thing is, and as soon as you find out, let us know, because
I'll let you know for sure. I'll call you up. We'll do another interview.
Right? Because it's now like the it's like have you seen Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark? I've
seen them all.
Yeah, it's your Ark of the Covenant. Is that what that is?
Exactly. And I'll tell you what. I'll say this first. If I hit that thing and it gets me really, really, really big and takes the group, and we're really Dave Dynasty podcast, we'll give you the first go at it.
Hey, I like to hear that. That's awesome, though. But as soon as you find the Ark of the Covenant,
forget Colt Cabana, man. I got Dave Dynasty's podcast locked down.
Right. There you go. Forget Colt Cabana. No, I'm kidding. We love you, Colt.
Yeah, tell Dave I'm all in.
No pun intended, right?
No, all puns. That's all I got.
You're like, puns is all I have, man. That's all I got. Oh,
that's man.
It. So, first of all, before we go into this last little bit here, I want to thank you very much for coming on here. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you today and hearing all the different stories and all of that. But last thing we like to do is give you another platform, because, you know, we want fans to follow you. So where can people go stalk you on the social medias?
Ooh, stalk. Such a strong word.
I say stalk.
You can find us.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, they know where you're going to be. They're going to follow you on social media. It's borderline stalking.
Okay. Get these dates.
Get these dates.
Get these dates. I'm going to send that to promoters. So you can catch us on all of our social medias. We'll start with Facebook. You can like us on Facebook as The Bomb Shelter. We've got that logo in the corner, that gear with the gas mask that you all know and love. Apparently it gets a great reaction. People buy merch that don't even watch wrestling because of that logo. But The Bomb Shelter is our like page. You can find me under Joseph Schwartz. You can find Randy under Randy West. And you can find Zodiac under Michael Joseph Zodiac. And you can friend request us. We're very friendly folks. If we're at our limits, just hit that follow button. We have our pages open for follows. You can follow us on Twitter. Follow me at Gears of Schwartz, which is also my Instagram. You can follow Zodiac under Zodiac Flame. You follow him under Zodiac with some underscore on Instagram. And you can find Randy West as Tough Broad Randy West on both Instagram and Twitter.
Wow. So, crazy that you know all of that. I can't even remember my own Twitter handle. Oh, man. But, good Lord. So anyways, you guys know where to go follow them. You know where to follow the whole crew. So you have no other option but to go follow them. But thank you for coming on here, Joseph. It's been a lot of fun.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, not a problem. And as always, everybody, like I said, I'm going to say it one more time. Go follow them and support independent wrestling. It is the lifeblood of wrestling. But thank you again, Joseph, for coming on here. You stay safe out there. I know, when you go out there and you work and you're driving and all that stuff, it gets a little crazy sometimes. So stay safe out there. And hopefully when you find that Ark of the Covenant, we'll bring you back on here so we can figure that out with you.
First interview when I find the Ark. And then Indiana Jones hat.
Right. Kentucky. And
that's it.
Whatever happened to you?
And we're back with Whatever Happened To, the segment where we catch up on some often overlooked names from Midwest Wrestling's past. I am Mike, and today we're chatting with EZ Cruz. How are we doing today?
Good, sir. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Well, hey, we'll go ahead and just jump right into it. So, first question, as always, Cruz, is how did you get started in wrestling?
Oh, man, it was years and years and years ago. I seen a sign, and it's training pro wrestlers, and pretty much went with Don Basher. Started out getting my start with WCWO, probably it's been over 20 years ago, and just kind of branched from there.
Oh, wow. So that's kind of how I interviewed somebody the other day who was like, yeah, I trained with Don Basher. So got a lot of people here that train with Dumb Basher, which is a good thing.
He started a lot of us. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he started a lot of careers. I'm still thankful for the start he gave me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like I said, WCWO, that's a very, I would say, reputable organization, too, to kind of start with as well. I've been to a couple of their, I had been to a couple of their shows, and they never failed to put on a good product, I'd say.
No, not at all. They're really branching out even more now and updating. And yeah, I mean, you see a lot of these young kids coming up there and getting their starts as well, and it's exciting to see where they're going.
No, absolutely. But speaking of starts, you jump right into it. You know, you got your training with Don, and then obviously you'd go on to get into the ring, of course. But what was your first match? A lot of people fondly remember their first match. Some of the people not so much. But what was that first match like?
Oh man, it was a jobber match. I was always a fairly large guy, but still, my first match was actually in Greensburg, Indiana, and it was a battle royal. And then later in the evening, it was against Cane Man Johnny Walker and his kendo stick that I'll never forget. But yeah, it was a 3 minute match, nothing major. Went in, got beat up, and good experience though. I haven't seen or heard from Cane Man in a long time.
You're like, I'm kind of glad that it happened because I still got some memories from that kendo stick. But
you know, I've broke a few of his kendo sticks over the years. Starting out there, my head's hard as a brick, and he tended to like to break them with him. So
yeah, that's a good thing, though, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you got a hard head, it doesn't hurt as much.
No.
But so obviously, first match. That's a heck of a first match, or I should say, first night. But where else did you work for? Because we've talked a little bit about WCWO, but are there any other reputable places that you've worked or not so reputable places?
Probably one of my favorite matches still to this day is IWA Mid-South down there a lot with Corp, and did a three-way in Indy at the old KOC with it was Corporal Robinson, Cash Flow, and Too Tough Tony, and it was fun.
Absolutely. That's
and
another.
Then,
go ahead.
Yeah. No. Then we had. I was IPW's heavyweight champion, and helped them get up off the ground, and had a lot of memorable matches there with Necro and Pondo and J.C. Bailey and a lot of guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm saying, IWA Mid-South is another one of those promotions that I think a lot of people have heard of. You know, but yeah, that's a good promotion too. Pretty crazy stuff goes on there, though. I'll tell you that much. So then, a little bit about you then, because we talked a little bit about just the few places you've worked, a couple people you've worked with. You have kind of a unique name, EZ Cruz. What is EZ Cruz? How did that come to be?
Oh, well, I started out doing a dark gimmick with WCWO. A lot of people may remember, may not. I wrestled as the Soul Taker there. Big, dark, evil kind of gimmick, and got a lot of newspaper notoriety because I have a background with working with children and special needs, and we was all over the Indian Star News and Nuvo, and they're following us around. And I think it was in the New Year's newspaper in the Indian Star News. I got voted most interesting person in the state that year because of the wrestling and working with children with physical and mental disabilities, and then. Man, it was getting so hot wrestling under a hood and long hair and everything else, and it was kind of interesting story. I'm like, man, I got to get something new, and so I started doing this biker gimmick, and they're like, man, I was trying to come up with a name, and I used to ride all the time. We went with EZ Cruz, and then it was born, and I came out with American Badass, and had the biker look and everything else, and here comes the twist of the story. Undertaker just went out, and then 6 months later, he comes back doing the exact same thing I'm doing. And I remember sitting at home. I used to never watch the pay-per-views, and Rob Raymer told me, the Zombie, and he said, dude, are you watching this? Do you see this? And I'm like, see what? And he said, you, dude. And he told me what was going on. I kicked the damn TV off of the flat screen, kicked it clean off, broke it. I was mad as hell. because, I mean, every time I change, then I get my hair cut and change my music. What does he do? He gets his hair cut and changes his music. And I was like, is somebody watching me here or what? And I fought forever to get away from that. And then I was like, okay, so we'll go one step further. And Nate Webb got a hold of me and said, hey, man, you ever thought about doing some hardcore? And I was like, well, yeah, you know, and we were running our own promotion at the time. We was running Crossroads Championship Wrestling here. And me and Pondo, that's when me and Pondo met and started battling it out. Bridget the Midget, we were just traveling around doing bar shows and beating the hell out of each other with light tubes and barbed wire and anything we could get. And then from that, IPW was born, of course. And then it branched out. Every time I was turning around, I was wrestling Necro or J.C. Bailey in a Fans Bring the Weapons match or a cage match or a Four Corners of Pain match. And that's where the Indiana's hardcore icon came into play, because it kind of helped bring hardcore to central Indianapolis in a bigger, more prominent way. And kind of a long story, but you know, that's kind of where we started, where we midwayed out, and now the ending is just kind of I get a lot of requests shows to pop in and do this and do that, and it's just now I'm a single dad, and I've got a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 1-year-old that I raised by myself, so my show time and wrestling time is pretty limited.
You're like my availability to get hit with light bulbs is suddenly not so great.
Yeah. And plus, I've been back to the shoot job. I've been with the Carpenters Union for over 12 years, and I build large 10-story plus buildings or bridges, and I make really good money. So it's $30-some-odd plus an hour. So it's kind of hard to go back and wrestle for a hot dog and $20 and get hurt. You know what I mean? So.
You're like this, you know. As much as I love wrestling, like you said, hot dog $20.
Yeah.
A couple stitches.
Yeah. No. As much as I love the fans to death, to this day, I still get Facebook messages and people that hit me up, and I still see people. I run into people here and there, out and about, and there's still talk, but it's like, when you coming back? When you coming back? And it's like, man, I miss the guys, the locker room. I miss sometimes doing the fairs and the tours, and I do miss the barbed wire and the blood here and there, but keeping the insurance bills paid for the babies is important. So I miss it, but nothing like I miss that paycheck.
Right, absolutely. So I kind of actually a little bit back to what you'd mentioned. You'd mentioned Debbie a little bit. And you were pretty and you actually kind of mentioned this earlier, but you mentioned that you're pretty integral in the early days. And but tell us what it was like to be part of IPW as it kind of exploded. Kind of how that process came to be.
Oh man, yeah, man, that's just seeing the guys that started out like Drake, younger for instance, and Scotty Vortex and Cliff and all them young cats. We gave them their first shot, pulling them in out of the backyard and training eat, and then they got in with Kickboxer, and I mean those guys, just seeing the stuff they come in, the energy they brought in, the younger kids brought in, and it was such a good mix of the younger guys with the veterans, and it had a natural chemistry. It built itself. The matches and shows. Greg and Mike did such an excellent job, and to this day I still appreciate them too. They put enough confidence in me to kind of be the forefront and build it up, and put the title on me, and they gave me a good run, and I spilled a lot of blood, and it was Kickboxer, it was JC, or it was Necro, or it was Pondo. We were always trying to come up with new ways, and Nate, and I was always a baby, and then they flipped me heel, and it was interesting, but just seeing the history and the guys that came in afterward, where they're at now, and I still take a lot of PW. A lot of people don't know that. I mean, there's a lot of guys like me too that still take a lot of pride in IPW. Seeing guys like Jake, Chris, and Irish Airborne being born, and them guys coming in young, and Congo coming in, and then you had Billy Rock, and all them guys coming in afterwards, and John Moxley, and of course we know is Dean Ambrose now.
Right.
And I still remember being a part of even IWA IPW over at Knights of Columbus when CM Punk took on Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio there in a three-way. And matches, I had a match with Public Enemy in IPW and got knocked out by Rocco, of course. That was interesting. But just some of the matches there, man, that they put together and the guys that they put together and then brought in, it was good being the start and then watching IPW just take off. And, everybody had bumps in the roads and had hiccups, but Mike and Greg pulled it together, and, man, they really took that off.
No, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, IPW was kind of like a stepping stone for a lot of people. You saw a lot of people come through there, people start there, a lot of people that we know now. But kind of back to what we were talking, honestly, kind of like we were talking about just a second ago is, with that, with being a part of a new company, you said a lot of blood spilled. And we were also talking a little bit about some of the things that you used to have to do. You go around with Hondo and you do some crazy stuff. So as we've kind of put together, you went from wrestling and you kind of evolved into more of a hardcore wrestler. And if you had to name some of the wildest moments in the ring, what would you say they would be?
Me and Necro did a match. It was a Fans Bring the Weapons match, and it was insane. It was over on the west side of Indianapolis. I'll never forget it. He grabbed this big shop broom and went to hit me with it. Well, the big fiberglass bolt handle of it was loose, and it spun around and came down like a hammer and ended up fracturing my hip. Put a hairline fracture in my hip. And, I could barely get up, but got up. We finished the match, and we took it hardcore all the way, and that was probably one of the biggest memories. I'd say the second was when they did the IBW heavyweight tournament, and I ended up that was probably one of my favorites. There's several companies, even smaller companies, I've held titles for, but IPW has always been my favorite, and probably always will be. The one that got away from me, I always wanted to try to push it and go for the IWA Mid-South, but, age has gotten me now, so that I don't think that'll ever happen, but who knows? There's definitely talk of a comeback here in the near future, and I had a knee surgery earlier in the year and been released and been back in the gym for probably 6-7 months, and we're tossing it around, but nothing definite,
Right. No, absolutely. And it'd be cool to see, like you said, an IW Mid-South. That's one of those companies that I feel like has kind of kept that reputation of hardcore wrestling. I feel like there's not a lot of those anymore, especially in this Indiana area.
No.
You have CZW, which is one of the bigger known names for hardcore wrestling, but definitely in the Indiana area, IW Mid-South's kind of had that reputation still. So that would be cool to see you go there. I would say that would be pretty awesome, personally.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to catch a good one, probably one of my best memories in the ring ever is you have to try to find a copy of IPW, Blood, Fire, and Barbed Wire. There's about 4 matches I think I featured on that DVD, and one of the favorites was me and Pondo. Me and Pondo did a Fans Bring the Weapons match, and it was the main event. And it was funny because we started out, I was in the ring, and Pondo starts out to the ring, and he bypasses the ring, he goes to the bathroom and takes a piss, okay? And pardon my English. And the cameraman's following him. The dude didn't even wash his hands. And he comes back, and I meet him outside the ring. I didn't even know this. So we're fighting. Then we go outside the parking lot. We're in the ring truck. And we come out of the ring truck, and the whole building's empty. They're out in the parking lot. And we hear, use my car, right? So this old Cadillac, 4-door, big tugboat looking thing, pretty as hell. So me and Pondo get up on the roof, and he backdrops me on the hood of this car, smashes the hood in, everything else. We didn't know what the hell was going on. We were just out there, doing our thing. And we get back inside, and we finish the match and all this other crap. And we were just beating the hell out of each other. We both probably stopped and had about 3 or 4 beers when we got there. And we're sitting back in the locker room resting. Mike and Greg's like, man, the cops are coming. And we're like, what? And we're like, yeah. He said, man, that was Drake Younger's dad's Cadillac. Oh. So we got money and got some food and got out of there pretty quick. And but his dad ended up cool with it. It was like, yeah, it was a joke for a while. But and then I guess somebody got mad. I think it was a bouncer who used to bring the ring truck out there, and I guess somebody that same night got mad, took a crap in his driver's seat. And rumor has it was Cliff or Drake. No, nobody's confirmed that yet, but it was an interesting night that night.
It sounds like it. You're just like outside, like, hey, yeah, use my car, and then, well, I guess. Shouldn't have done that,
yeah.
no?
No, Drake's doing pretty good as a ref right now. I'm pretty sure he got a better caddy now.
Probably. That's not too bad, though. That cracks me up, though. And that's one of those things, too, that, I guess, a little side tangent, that you don't really get in normal wrestling matches. That's the only kind of thing you get in hardcore matches, and that's something special right there.
Mm-hmm.
But
yes, it was.
That's crazy, though. And the stories like that, you know, you kind of look back and you're just like, oh, that was good times.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You always remember them.
I'm sure it didn't feel good, but it's probably fun to look back.
Ain't nothing with Pondo or Necro ever felt good.
Right. Oh, man. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about, you know, different matches, different crazy things that have happened, a lot of different people. But one thing we always like to ask people is because with wrestling, there's the business part. You know, you get in the ring, you wrestle, you have your fun. And then there's always the traveling aspect. Now, did you ever travel with somebody and have one of those travel stories where you're just like, can't believe that just happened?
Yeah. We did a big show up in Bay City, Michigan, and there's a big fair out there, and it was, man, that was a crazy event too. I think Bushwhackers were there, Dan Severn was there, Marty Jannetty, Ricky Morton, man, there was a whole cast and crew of characters out there, and I walked into the dressing room, Luke and Butch would say, look up, and they go, Mark, what are you doing here? It took me a second, I'm like, what? And they thought I was they thought I was Mark Callis, and they thought I was the Undertaker. And I was like, you got the wrong dude, Bob. Yeah, I always get that crap, though. Oh, my God, we can't get away from each other to save our butts, even to this day. And then after that, I took, it was fun because we took a guy that ran with me. He did wrestling works. I used to wrestle as Corporal Kenny Burns, but he ended up breaking his back and getting all messed up, all kinds of crazy stuff. So anyway, we were heading out, and instead of going back to the hotel, we ended up at Deja Vu up there, and old Kenny had never been into a strip club before, so we had a good time, and we left there and ended up heading back to Indy that night, and it was pretty good. And then other than that, no real memorable travel stuff, just the normal pain in the butt, pack your bags, head out, you know, go to God for wherever for $50 and gas and wrestle for 20 and a hot dog and go home, you know.
Right. Right. Well, hey, as long as there's like that one story you remember, right? No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear from a lot of people, though, is that, you know, the traveling part, you know, because some people are like, oh, yeah, I love traveling. Some people are like, yeah, it was traveling.
Yes. Yeah, it was traveling.
You're like, yeah, it was traveling. Also, something we also like to kind of ask, because, you know, we talked a little bit about what you're doing now outside of wrestling, but we also like to ask, you know, just to kind of see who the person behind the character is there anything that your fans that don't know about you, like, is there like a hobby that you have, or is there like something you do that people don't know about?
Well, I've been a tattoo artist for probably 26 years, and I love to paint, and I play piano and cook, and I'm actually a really teddy bear family guy. My kids are my world. I've got 7 kids. I've got 4 older and out of the house. I've got 4 grandbabies and 3 littler ones. And actually, I'm more of just a laid back kind of family guy more than anything. And it's, you know, that's my world now. My babies are my world, and that's pretty much where I'm at. Although I love wrestling and the stuff we do, like another memory to throw out there. Not to change it on you here, but back in what was it? I think it was 2001. I actually booked X Fest. Me and Nate and Webb, and there was it was CM Punk, Cole Cabana, Suicide Kid, and then we had all midgets with us, Puppet, T.O., Short Dog, And we were in the room, and I ended up getting a dollar bill stapled to my head live on air. And then Puppet was chasing Don Stuck around the green room at X-Fest trying to staple dollar to his butt. So, and it's stuff like that, that we miss, and, joking about it and taking 10 minutes to get to the ring because there were 10,000 people surrounding it. And, stuff that, the kids that, my kids, some of my older kids got to go and see it, but, my younger kids won't. But, there's a vast difference that guys, that do what we do. We get in the ring and we want to go hardcore for the fans and have fun. We love doing it. And then there's other sides, like you brought up here. When I get home, I'm about my kids and cooking and chores and school and housework and stuff like that. So,
right.
But,
right. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like they say, it's at the end of the day, you're one person and you decide who that person is. And, can't complain too much if you got a family and all that. So I respect that I most definitely respect that. But I guess one last thing for you. I mean, we've talked a lot about, not just wrestling, but, who you are, what you do, which tattoo artist, that's pretty cool. I love cooking as well. I'm good at it, but I like to cook.
The other part we forgot to add is that I actually spent 12 years in the military. I'm actually a disabled vet and stuff like that. But, that's all. Like I said, I've lived a very interesting life up to this point. And I'm just kind of enjoying the relaxed part of it.
Right. You're enjoying the ride, right? Just enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
But,
yep.
Well, I guess one last thing for you is some people do, some people don't, but do you have like a social media? I know this is the moderate, but do you have a social media that you allow fans to reach out to you on and say hey or anything like that?
Oh yeah. I still have I still have a lot of fans that are on my Facebook page. It's just Les Duncan, LESDUNCAN. Most of them add there and still message me and talk to me and ask me stuff and want me to come back and stuff like that. So other than that, people are more welcome to look me up and add me and ask anything they'd like.
Well, there you go. Well, I just want to thank you very much for taking the time today, talking to us, and just chit-chatting about wrestling and everything else in between. So, first of all, I just want to thank you for that. It's an honor and a pleasure. So, thanks for coming on here today.
No, any time is my pleasure. I appreciate it. Like I said, I miss the guys. I miss the locker room, miss the fans, I miss the ring, and I still try to pop out the shows here and there and check it out. But it's more or less family life for me anymore. And anytime I can get a chance to still talk about it, I still do. And I just appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Well, you guys heard it here. If you want to go check them out, you know where to go find them on Facebook. And as always, my favorite thing to say is support independent wrestling. It is the lifeblood of wrestling. But thanks again, Les, for coming on here and just chit-chatting with us. Stay safe out there, have fun, and happy Labor Day.
Thank you, sir, and you as well.
You've heard him here on the Dave Dynasty Show as a guest and as host of the monthly Graham's Gallery episodes. And now you can hear his stories. You can own a copy of Confessions of a Big-Time Wrestler, the audio book from Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., former multi-tag team champion in WWA and owner of Bruiser Bedlam. You can hear all of his encounters with the various wrestlers, places, and promotions he's worked as he tells about his colorful, long, and illustrious career. You can have your own copy for only $25, and that includes shipping and handling. It's very simple. Go on Facebook, look up Jerry Jaffe, Jaffe, send him a private message, and make arrangements to purchase a copy of Confessions of a Big-Time Wrestler now. You will not regret this purchase. And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am Dave Dynasty. Thank you for listening this week. We appreciate you joining us. Once again, visit DaveDynasty.com for all the social media links. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure for sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube for all that classic wrestling content, as well as the podcast episodes are up there also. I'm constantly sharing stuff on social media, lots of pictures, newspaper clippings, lots of cool things every day that I'm putting out there about Midwest wrestling and Midwest wrestling history, things you're going to want to see. So go to DaveDynasty.com, follow us to subscribe to us, do all those things. And when I do post these things, make sure you are sharing them and help spreading the word. Once again, thank you to Joseph Schwartz and EZ Cruz for being on today. And that's it. That is it for this week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting week in and week out. And until next week, I am Dave Dynasty for Ike Isaacs. Be good, be safe, and keep on growing.